Hello, good morning from my local railway station, Bath Spa. I'm just setting off on Monday, June the 13th, coming up to 10 a.m. I'm setting off on my summer tour. I'm heading up to East Anglia and I'm going to ride around the East Anglian coast, Suffolk into Norfolk, starting at Ipswich and following the coast round to King's Lynn, and then get a train back from King's Lynn, King's Cross, reverse of what I'm doing today. The ride has got a historic heritage World War I theme. I'm going to be exploring a lot of old World War I pillboxes along the coast. Also going to visit some scenes of relevance. For example, the location of the first ever air raid on Britain, scene of a naval shelling. I'm going to try and tell you lots of fascinating stories I came across as I did my research. But anyway, today, the first part of the trip, Bath Spa to Paddington, then I'm going to ride across London via 6 World War I memorials, which are managed by English Heritage, stop at each one, and then to Liverpool Street Station, get my connection to my first night at Ipswich, staying in the Travelodge. So let's get going. I've just set in my route to ride round the 6 World War I memorials, heading up to Liverpool Street. I'm making my way from Paddington Station to Liverpool Street Station to get my connection to Ipswich. I'm taking this route which takes me past 6 World War I memorials managed by the English Heritage. This is the Royal Artillery Monument. Wow. I'll put a link to all these in the description below. It's probably a bit too much information to keep telling you every single one. A little bit about my navigation. I'm taking both the Garmins. I'm actually navigating on the old Edge 200 and I'm recording my rides on the newer Edge, is it the 130, 150, whatever it is. That's not giving me the prompts today. I'm much more confident that that's the better navigation device. So I've got the route in, and as you can see, it's okay following a breadcrumb trail, but I need to know where everything is. So there you go, you can see what I've done. Paddington through Hyde Park. This is number 2, the Royal Artillery Memorial. So just over the road must be the Machine Gun Memorial. And then I head through St James Park down to Westminster. It's quite manic here. I actually quite like riding through big city centres. It's very much dog eat dog, you've got to force your way through. So I've come to monument number 2 before number 1, so I need to find out where that is. It's very, very close. And to mark each of these places, I just really didn't want to make it like a theme park ride really. Linda's knitted me 40 woolen red and green poppies. I'm going to leave one at each particular location. I nearly missed it, literally just the other side of this green. Here we are. This was actually the first on the list, second that I've come to the Machine Gun Memorial. Just been diverted through some road closures. I think it's the remnants of the Jubilee actually. It's leading down to Buckingham Palace. Looks like they were undoing a lot of the entertainment stands and stages and etc. just past Big Ben. And here's the mother of them all, the cenotaph. If I struggled to find the others at times, you're certainly not going to struggle to find this. A few hundred yards down from the cenotaph, you can just see it behind that bus. That's down the street down there. And there's the Hague Memorial. Very controversial, contentious figure. I'm not even going to go there. I'll put a link in the top right hand corner of the screen now. There's a very short documentary explainer about Hague. Just watch it and make your own mind up. I've just come around Trafalgar Square. You might just see the big Nelson's Column pillar beyond there. And here's the Edith Cavell Memorial, probably the most famous lady killed in the Great War. Then lastly, on the Victoria Embankment, it's the most unusual of them all, they say, is the Belgium Gratitude Memorial. I was thinking in bed last night, Edith Cavell and this, the Gratitude Memorial, there's so many parallels with what's going on at the moment. June 2022 I'm making this video. Well, mission accomplished. All 6 memorials visited. I'm now at Liverpool Street Station. Let's just hope this train's a bit less crowded than the last one. 3:30 then, and I'm here. That train journey from Liverpool Street to Ipswich was such a contrast to the first journey from Bath to London. It had more coaches on it and it was virtually empty. Plenty of space for my bike. Had 2 whole carriages to myself most of the way. I recognised the big places like Stretford and Colchester, but all the other stations, they were just completely new to me, unfamiliar, and I loved that actually. We're not at the coast yet, we're inland on the river, heading out towards the coast. But as the train came around the curve, you can sort of see Felixstowe Port in the distance, which is where I'm going to be heading first thing tomorrow morning. Anyway, about 1.5 miles to my travel. I'm just quite looking forward to getting there now. This is a bit marinery actually, it's not quite how I was expecting it. It's quite fancy looking, well, yachts for want of a better word, in the quay. I want to expect, but I really wasn't expecting this. In a few hundred yards to my travel lodge by the look of it. Just having an evening walk round by the quay at Ipswich. Just heading back for a bit of food in a bit. Look what I've just seen popping in the middle of Ipswich. Hello, good morning. Well, it's now Tuesday the 14th of June, just gone 8 AM. I've had some breakfast just along the road at Subways. Maybe a little bit about my plans for the week. I'm exploring the East Anglian coastline, Suffolk and Norfolk, between Ipswich and King's Lynn, hugging the coast mostly, inland slightly. I'm following a heritage trail that locates 26 World War I pillboxes. And I only found out about these a couple of years ago through a YouTube mate of mine, Tom Outdoors, and they fascinated me ever since, and I've researched them. There's a leaflet, I can put a link to that in the description below, telling you a little bit about them, and it suggests a route exploring 14 of them, and they say in their leaflet there used to be over 40 and there's 24 remaining. Well, I've dug around a lot and I think I've located 26. I could be wrong, I mean they're the experts, I'm just sort of like the newcomer, so we'll see how that pans out, but I think 26 possibly. And as I go along the coast, there's a few places of heritage linked to World War I as well. I mean, for instance, there was a naval shelling of Lowestoft. There's pretty fascinating stories to tell there, and also Britain's first ever air raid. You know, it's a Zeppelin raid on Great Yarmouth. But riding through London, I don't go to London very often, and there was all the iconic landmarks. I mean, I've seen them before, but just they sort of blew me away, like Hyde Park Corner, riding through the parks, Hyde Park, the Serpentine, St James Park. Came across some household cavalry being escorted back in with the police escort into their barracks as they were crossing the flow of traffic. Buckingham Palace, Trafalgar Square, you know, Nelson's monument, the column, just all blew me away. I just stopped at some traffic lights at one point and I thought, oh, I wonder where this is, and I looked up and I was in Fleet Street. Yeah, it just really blew me away. Even coming out of London, the train stopped at Stratford, I think it was, and I looked out the window and there's that big red sort of metallic. I think it's a monument. I'm not sure what it is, but it's the symbol of the 2012 Olympic Games. So yeah, that blew me away. So the 6 monuments were the Royal Artillery Monument, the Machine Gun Corps Monument, the Cenotaph, Earl Haig Monument, and the second 2 I made parallels to what's going on today. You may agree with me, you may not, but there was the Edith Cavell Monument and the Belgian Gratitude Memorial. About these pillboxes, they were constructed along the East Anglian coast, facing out to the North Sea, because in those days the threat didn't come from the northern French ports, it came from the North Sea, and so they were built in 2 lines, as I gather, like a coastal line on the beaches and a second line a couple of miles inland, mostly protecting rivers, and they were quite often built in pairs as well to enable covering and suppressing fire. What really surprised me during the research though was they were built right up until July 1918, literally just a few months before the First World War armistice, and it just made me sort of think, gosh, that really surprised me actually. I mean, can you imagine the Home Guard in the Second World War being put on high alert? The equivalent would be January, wouldn't it? 1945 wouldn't happen, because it was much more decisive then. You could see the victory almost on the horizon. So yeah, that surprised me. They're apparently some are in a good state of repair, others are barely hanging on, and some have even fallen off cliffs due to coastal erosion and been taken by the sea. So there's going to be a contrast in the conditions. This morning I'm going to be leaving here, heading about 14 miles along, hugging the river in effect, to the coast just north of Felixstowe Port, and then I'll be getting a small ferry across, I hope anyway, across the mouth of the river, called Felixstowe Ferry, and then literally within a couple of miles I'll be hopefully finding the first of these World War I pillboxes. So I'm going to pack up shortly, give my stuff a little bit more of a charge, and then I'll be on my way. Setting off from the marina, right by Orwell Lady River Cruises in Ipswich, 14 miles to the coast, and then there's a ferry across to the coastline itself. Looks like it's going to be a really warm sunny day. In fact, the forecast is good all week. There could be some rain Saturday. I've been coming out on quite nice agricultural land and on minor roads. I'm avoiding the very busy A14 over there. Shortly I'm going to run alongside it. I've planned this route. I hope I haven't overplanned, because that can make it too sterile and uninteresting, but I've put a lot of hours into researching the theme of this ride. But I love coming across the unexpected. As I mentioned yesterday, I bought 40 poppies that Linda has knitted me that I'm going to leave at each site. I hope people don't say it as littering. I hope people sort of understand it's a mark of respect and remembrance. But I love coming across the unexpected, and I've been seeing this all morning. Fields of poppies. Wow, that was just unexpected. I've just ridden from Ipswich to the coast, 14 miles. And the sea is just over there. I'm starting to spot things like Martello Towers. I'm heading to the mouth of the River Debden, and then I'm going to take a ferry across that. I'm just north of the port of Felixstowe, so it's called the Felixstowe Ferry. This morning I've just ridden about 14 miles from Ipswich to the other side of this river. This is the River Debden, and I've just got that ferry across the mouth of it. My tour starts really from here. Within the next couple of miles I'm literally going to be starting to come across the First World War pillboxes, so I'll talk to you more about them when we get there. After about a mile of riding inland alongside the coast from the ferry, you turn down East Lane, and this is the site of my first World War I pillbox. There's a big World War II structure there. All along the coast there's signs of defence works. That's Second World War by the look of it. Martello towers from the Napoleonic era everywhere. But that's the circular one there. I'm just going to wander over and have a look. There's reference here, East Lane, Bawdsley. So this is Bawdsley Beach, the Napoleonic threat, protecting the coast, the World Wars. It says here it was cold and bleak for soldiers patrolling the shore at East Lane during 1914 to 18. There was only a small round pillbox for protection. That's it there. It's very overgrown, as you can see, so I'm not going to go any further than this. So where to leave the poppy? Probably on that fence over there. See, First World War, Second World War, and looking back at the coast. Just travelled back in time to my travel lodge on day one. These are the notes I've got to locate all the pillboxes. You can see they're all listed there. They've got references here that if I really do get stuck, I can just tap that in to Google and I'll access more details. So the sources I used to do this research were, first of all, there was that Norfolk Heritage Trail pillbox leaflet. You can download that off the internet in a PDF file, put a link to it in the description below. And I also used Suffolk Heritage Explorer and Norfolk Heritage Explorer. They're based on archaeological departments of the county councils, I think. You tap these codes into their search engine and you just get all the information, the state of the boxes, when the last archaeological survey was done. You can get map references, you can zoom in with satellite, get street views, you get the idea. So this is going to be of great help, I think. And I've also done some screenshots of Ordnance Survey maps where I highlighted the route in yellow and also circled all the pillboxes and then highlighted the locations in green. Haven't brought all the maps with me because it'd be too bulky. I've done screenshots, but I have brought one 50,000 scale Ordnance Survey map because there were so many on that. I think the screenshots would have been more confusing. That's the first of the World War I circular pillboxes at the end of East Lane. Zoom in. On the left there, it's big World War II brother on the right hand side of the road. I did do quite a bit of research for this trip over the winter months. I spent a couple of wet Saturday afternoons in January doing quite a bit of research. Anyway, up on the coast to walk along that way to number 2 along. Okay, I think pillbox number 2 is going to be a fail, so let me explain. There's the very distinctive World War II defence right behind that. On the other side of that little lane was the first of the World War I pillboxes, East Lane. The second one should have been round about here. Now I've read up in the description, it says it's in very poor state of repair. And that was in 2014, so we talk about 8 years ago. And I see here there's an unsafe structure, keep off, and there's clearly been some work done along here not that long ago. So you see all the sandbags and then all the sea defences. I'm guessing pillbox number 2 has since been buried by all that or just simply collapsed. So this gives you an idea of the location. I could be wrong, this is my best guess. The reason I say that is because I'm in the where it should be. There's these number of lakes across there, so if I look at the Suffolk Explorer Heritage website, I'll put a picture on the screen now. You'll see from that screen grab this is where it should be, in between the last of these 2 lakes there, and that would make sense. Unsafe structure. I think really my best guess, that's where I'm going to leave the poppy, just here, because I think it would have been along here somewhere, and that's where I've chosen to leave my poppy. Looking looking at that view. I just went back inland from the beach and rode up a B road to the village of Alderton. Then when you get on a sharp left-hand bend, you take a right-hand turn. In effect, you're carrying straight on. And this is the road. And these are the next two. Can you see them? No, they're not easy to spot, are they? Here you go. Here's one of them. I mean, they were never supposed to be obvious, were they? They were always going to be covered in camouflage netting and overgrowth, but yeah. I'll try and shine a light in there in a minute and have a look inside. And there's a farm track down there to a farm. And when I looked at my notes, and even that's quite difficult to do because I'm doing it all on my mobile phone, and because I'm not complaining, because of the glare of the weather, it's a beautiful, lovely day, I'm struggling to read it. I'm having to find shade. The other one's just back there, so I realised I'd missed one. So yeah, let's have a quick look inside here. This is looking inside. Fairly thick steel door which has been wedged open. Lots of foam matting in here. Corrugated ceiling. What must have been a ventilation hole. Quite substantial structures. I'm not going to go in much further. You can sort of see it's probably been used by people sleeping. Actually, there's some foam mats and a cushion there. Looks like someone's made a bed up there. Bag of rubbish. I'm just going to toss my poppy in there. As I said, very easy to miss. So let me give you a few clues how to find these. You're heading north from Alderton. There's a farm track down to, I think it's called Bawdsey Farm down there. And then there's this little path along here. So the second one's just by the path. And the first one, which I'm going to go back to, is right opposite that farm track down to the farm, but it's on this side of the road. That's the road up from Alderton. The second one, which I've been to first, was just up there about 100 yards. This is the private road down to Buckenay Farm, although it's a footpath as well. That would probably take you down the coast, which is probably no more than a mile away. And then here's the second one. Even from here, it's very difficult to spot, isn't it? Circular, like that one just 100 metres up. Double steel doors here. Darker inside. Corrugated ceiling again. The firing points. What's strange about this is it seems to be aimed inland, whereas the sea is like right behind us. Strange, I thought this would have probably been facing the sea. I've got my knitted poppy there, but as I've been saying, there's poppies all along the road. There's quite a batch in the hedgerow here, so I've just picked one, so I'll be leaving my own poppy plus a real poppy. This doesn't look quite as disgusting as the other one, so I am actually going to go inside here, have a look. This is the second of the two pillboxes at Alderton, just slightly inland, so it's the second line of defence away from the sea. In fact, how you locate this is right opposite a farm track down to Buckenay Farm, and the sea would be down there as well. And along this minor road, about 100 yards up there, northwards, is the second one. Same as this, though, very, very difficult to spot. In fact, I overshot this one, and I just spotted that one because I knew what I was looking for. Same as the other one, corrugated roof. All the firing points, steel doors. It's quite a squeeze to get in there. I hope I can get out. And I bought my knitted poppy in, but as I've been referring to, there's poppies everywhere, really abundant. and there's a load just sprung up around here. Actually, that seems quite significant in some ways, so I'm just going to lay those shortly. But yeah, a First World War circular pillbox. Give you a 360 then. That's looking inland. That's looking northwards. The double steel doors looking down to the coast. That's looking down towards the coast. And that would be southwards. Corrugated ceiling, same as the other one. And that's the other one, is circular hole. Imagine that's some form of ventilation up there. Wow. Couple of miles on from Alderton down that way. I've just heading northwards parallel to the coast. Now I've just turned down this no through road to the coast. This is called Shingle Street. It's a little pulling area, and there's like a little substation there, or sewage works by the look of it. And there's the remains of a pillbox just beyond here. I've just been down that footpath and you can't get to it. You certainly can't get to it here. You can just make out its shape from the road, so I'll walk around there. Just out that little gravel track, there's a footpath there. You can see the remains of it there. It's subsiding badly, and you can see it's really overgrown with nettles and everything. There's clearly no access into it. I'll try and zoom in, give you an idea of its state. This was one of the ones where I thought it may already have disappeared. The pillbox is right behind here. I think what I'm going to do is tie my poppy to that steel gate there. There's my poppy there, and literally the pillbox is just behind here, completely overgrown. It's getting on a little bit, and I'm very peckish, so I'm going to go and stop and have my sandwich there. I think I picked up some lunch when just before I left the Travelodge. There was a Tesco Express right next door, so yeah, going to go over there, have my lunch, do a little bit of viewing of my maps and see what's coming up next. So far, just a summary. East Lane I got to, the first one. Couldn't get right to it, but I got very close to it. Baldsey Beach, no longer there. I'm pretty sure I found the location of it to the best of my ability, and there's even a little bit of evidence there with the signs. The two north of Alderton, great. I went inside both. Very easy to miss, even on a bicycle. If you didn't know they're there, it'd be so easy to go by. And this one, I suspected this was one of the ones that would no longer be here, but it is just. So that's what, 4 that I visited and 1 that I've located. 5 down. 20. What's that? 21 to go. Give you a quick idea of the terrain. So where that dog waste stony bin is, literally the pillbox is right behind that. You can just see a slightly raised bit of vegetation there, nettles and wildflowers. That's where it is. I've just left my poppy on the gate there, right next to it. You can see it's very marshy leading up to the sea, very open, exposed. Lots of wildlife, herons, swans, seagulls. I think it's the poppies that are blowing me away today. I'll be heading that way. I'm going to stop here and have my lunch and just do a little quick bit of reading up, because I'm not sure what's coming. I've had my lunch, I've looked at my list, I'll go through that, show you that later on actually, and I've cross-referenced it with the route on road with GPS on my map. And it looks like the next pillbox is not until north of Southwold. There's a ferry to get across the river mouth there as well. So I've got quite a long stretch now from here up to Southwold. So this afternoon I'm probably just going to concentrate on progress, getting to Southwold and enjoying it without rushing it. It's absolutely lovely cycling around here, so quiet, very agricultural, fairly easy cycling. The wind's behind me, wildflowers everywhere, poppies, heading up this way, although there's a Sustrans route I'll be following. That looks like it's heading down towards the coast. I'm heading up towards Southwold. I've never been there before. I'm really looking forward to having a good look round. There's a ferry to get across the river mouth before I get there. If it's still running, I really don't care. I'm so relaxed about this holiday. And I've mentioned this before, just all these names were unfamiliar to me. Well, not all the things, I've just been there to look at the pillboxes, but that's what I love about coming across the eastern side of the country. It's all unfamiliar. Mid-afternoon now as I make my way up towards Southwold. This is typical of the scenery, it's all agricultural. You hear or see a lot of these robotic water pistols, as I call them. Not sure what the technical term is. There's quite a few of them. And it's just started, the spray started to come over here now. It's actually really nice. This morning, one of them was firing onto a road, and the minute it hit the road, it was, you could see it's evaporated straight away. There was like steam coming up. It was quite a weird effect. Must be about 5 PM. I'm not really checking the time, but I'm just riding along the seafront at Ordberg. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. I just came into town and I saw a co-op and I thought, oh, I'll stock up on some supplies there. Just really fancied an ice cream and a cold drink as well. I was just outside finishing and this chap came by and said, "Are you Andy?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I watch your YouTube videos." So we had a really good chat and he was telling me about an adventure he did, which just sort of planted a seed in my mind. He said he lives at around about 51 degrees latitude and he just pinpointed the place on the Welsh coast, similar latitude, and then plotted a route during lockdown, he was saying, and just rode it. And we were just chatting about cycling and motivation, and just, it was a really nice encounter. Then this is really nice. Alderburgh is just really nice, sleepy seaside town on a day like this. Give you an idea of its location, that big white dome in front, that's Sizewell nuclear power station. I'm thinking of camping actually. I'm not sure if I want to camp quite close to a nuclear power station. I actually have got beach tent pegs with me, so I can beach camp if I want. See how it goes. I was going to try and get to Southwold before stopping today, but again, I don't want to stick to a timetable. I just want to sort of play it by ear, and if I see something nice, I'll stop. It's 10 to 7, I've stocked up on supplies for a wild camp and I'm just turning down this road that'll take me towards the coast now. As you can see, no access to Southwold for motor vehicles, so that's my plan. Go down there, hopefully do a beach camp, or a shingle beach camp. I've got plenty of supplies, and then early tomorrow morning I'll be taking the ferry across to Southwold and then carrying on my journey. It's 7:45 in the evening now. I'm at Warberswick Beach. If that doesn't mean anything to you, it doesn't mean anything to me either. Give you an idea, that white dome over there is Sizewell nuclear power station. I just cycled around the outskirts of Minsmere Bird Reserve, and I'm gonna go to Southwold rather tomorrow. There's a ferry I've got to get across there tomorrow morning, so that gives you an idea where I am. I've just put up my tent. I bought the Van Gogh Banshee side entrance tent, and I've just staked out a ground sheet just to try and keep sand out of everything, give myself almost a bit of a carpet. Anyway, it's been a fantastic day. One ferry this morning, there'll be another ferry first thing tomorrow morning. I've never been to Southwold, I've always wanted to go there, and so far I've visited 5 pillboxes. Well, let's say it's 4 pillboxes, and the remains the site of where one used to be. So what's that? 5 out of 26. That fifth of the way, really, isn't it? Wow, what an amazing place this is going to be to wake up tomorrow morning. Usual nice simple meal. Boiled the pasta till it's soft, drained it off, then just added in a tin of chili con carne, stag chili actually, so hence needing a couple of lagers to cool me most down afterwards. I'm quite looking forward to this. That's the third Hercules just gone over. There's 2 in a row there. Been seeing American helicopters all afternoon. I think they're American anyway. They look like those Black Hawk things, quite sinister looking. It just makes you realise that I'm sort of here to explore historical military infrastructure. You suddenly realise it's still quite an important military sort of area, really, on the east coast of England. I remember when I cycled across America, I met a lot of guys in Texas who had, served in the UK. They really wanted to come over and talk to me and tell me about their experiences. A lot of those were ex-Air Force. They'd been stationed in Suffolk and then over in Germany. It's 10 to 10 at night, and look at this, it's still fairly light. That's the way I come in. Over that little bridge there. Still people walking their dogs up here. That's looking down. Still people here. There was a couple there having a barbecue actually. It's quite nice as I was eating my tea, so we sort of waved at each other a few times, raised our glasses. There's a couple there, look, man, walking down there. Wow. I do like this Banshee tent. Once it's actually up, I still find putting it up quite confusing. It's maybe because I switch between tents quite a lot, but I still find it a bit complicated trying to work out where all the poles go and where the ropes are going and everything. But once it's up, it's great. And what's really good, it's got that little zipped entrance there. The vestibules are not very wide actually, so you don't get much porch space. But what you have got, where there is a bit of room there, there's like an inner zip there. That's perfect for storing things like my shoes were in there tonight, so I don't get sand in the tent. I've had a little bit of a setback. My sun mat, sleep mat, is knackered basically. I went to blow it up tonight. It's got 2 valves, like an inlet and an outlet valve. The outlet just lets all the air escape. The inlet has got like a 2-way valve, so when you blow it in, it lets the air in, and then the valve just comes back and seals it in. Well, the valve just isn't there. I was blowing it up thinking it's not inflating. When I looked, the little green valve has just disappeared. It's probably inside somewhere. Whether I've damaged that myself, I don't know. Whether it's just wear and tear. I mean, I do tend to put them in the airing cupboard to make sure they're fully dry before I store them, so maybe that's not a good idea, I don't know. Can't get over how light it is out there, still 10 to 10 at night in June. Just fantastic, just going out there then taking some photographs. I'm going to try and get to sleep now, because I've got to say I didn't sleep that great last night in the Travelodge. I've said it before, it's not a criticism, I just think they're too hot and the beds are a little bit too soft for me, and also the traffic was quite busy outside. I had to keep the window open, so I was getting traffic noise. Anyway, I'll say good night and I'll see you in the morning.